Thank you for checking out my video. I really love Hatsune Miku and enjoy sharing some of that dedication by making videos all about her. To improve my content, I decided to launch my own Patreon page, where you can support me if you feel like Miku's magic reached you by watching them, with neat rewards waiting too. Link in the description. Well, that's all, and now enjoy the new video. Hello, Kevin from Hatsune Miku here. I figured you guys out. All I need to do for good views is make top 10 videos. Finally, my plan for Miku's world domination is within reach. I just want to speed up the process a bit, so I guess I have 3 videos instead of 2 this month. As for the video itself, I guess anything works, so how about top 10 things? Number 10, an empty bowl, just as if somebody was quicker than you. Number 9, a book. What do you do with these again? Number 8, a marble, it never stops until it does. Number whatever, the corner of a room. Amazing. I just don't know where I would be without it in my life. Pre-order now to get a free sheet of paper for only $5 extra. I guess that's just a bit too different. Should still be about Miku after all. What? Yes? Oh, the executive of Google? About the video? What? I can't do that? Oh, that's a shame. I need to take my work more seriously? I don't even get paid! Hello? What? He hung up! What an asshole! Oh, that's a shame. I guess I just do top 10 hardest songs in Project Mirai instead. You know, it's interesting. Ever since I started making these top 10s about the Project Diva games, I always got comments from time to time asking me to make a video about one of the Mirai games. And I never really considered it, even though I have all these games. The Mirai series received 3 games and were actually released for the Nintendo 3DS system, not a Sony console like the main series. If you're interested in these, just go for the final game, the X. That game is a refined version of the second game, which in a sense was an improved one of the very first, which had a different and quite flawed gameplay as well as fewer songs. The X has all the content from the games prior and is just more polished in general, so this top 10 will be based on it as well. But I got sidetracked. Back then I got 2 and the X up on release and had some fun with it, but never really played it for nearly as long as the Diva games. One reason is the different graphic style. All characters are in their exaggerated Chibi versions because the 3DS just wasn't capable for the more realistic normal look of Miku and her friends. But the biggest reason is the difficulty. Compared to the Diva series, it's a lot easier. If you played the other games as much as I did, that's a real problem. It's just not as much fun when there's barely any challenge involved. I guess that is the main reason I never thought a top 10 hardest songs would make sense for this game. But hold the phone! Don't close the video just yet! After I sat down for a bit and had a closer look at the game again, I changed my opinion a tiny bit. While it's definitely true that most songs are way too easy and don't follow the singing very well, there are still plenty of interesting charts worthy of being talked about in this video. A few words about the gameplay before I begin. The core mechanics are the same, you press the buttons that appear at the right time, but in this game they are all set on a pathway going all over the screen, mainly just a visual difference. Some hold notes are rainbow colored and you just rotate the stick to get some extra points. The main difference is the second line of inputs that appears from time to time. When this happens, you have to press multiple buttons at the same time. Usually it's the same direction on both the right and left side of the controller, so it acts just like the arrow notes in the Diva series, but in harder songs you sometimes have to press in different directions, which is similar to the notes at the same time in the arcade game. Doesn't happen too often, unfortunately. Only one gameplay element is exclusive to this game. Sometimes during these periods you have to hold down a specific input while pressing other buttons at the same moment. It's something that never happens in any other Miku game, so this is where I usually screw up, as you will see further down in the video. This list will only include the button mode. You can play alternative maps with touch controls, which is just dumb in my opinion, in hard or super hard difficulty only. Yeah, you can only play select songs in super hard, which is similar to extreme in the main series. With all that out of the way, I think it's finally time to start the list. Number 10. Not much to talk about for this song. For the most part, it follows the actual singing fairly well. The short spams of 2 notes in the chorus might not seem like anything special, but any spam is kinda noteworthy when it appears in this game. A real obstacle is the path the note takes in this song for some reason. It's often off screen until only a few seconds before you have to press the right buttons, which gives you little time to react. That's not it. Near the end it gets harder. In a spam of 2 notes, you have to keep holding down the second input, so you probably do that with the direction buttons. But then, you're required to hold down another one which actually is a direction button too. This can screw you up if you now wonder how to even play this, unless you realize that instead of the arrow to the right for example, you can also press the A button on the console instead. I wonder if the developers were even aware of the possible confusion due to the initial spam. That's pretty much it. 2 other things I want to mention however. First of all, is it just me or is this not the same Miku tuning here compared to the arcade version of the game? Secondly, I really have to point out the bad game design for when you pause the game. If you just press A without thinking, you will restart the song. B will just quit and only the actual start button will simply unpause. This can definitely ruin some good progress. Number 9. This song has a rating of 9, which is almost the max in this game, but I don't get why. Sure, it made the list, but only because of the lack of a huge variety of songs to pick from. I think it got a 9 as a result of the tempo only. Sure, it's fast, but as long as you alternate, you will be fine. Some parts of the chart are made easier by omitting notes, but ironically, it feels harder as a result in my opinion. A real insult to any more serious player are the solos though. Just look at them! Do I even have to comment? Just one press every few seconds? Sadly, this is the norm for this game overall. Most charts are way simplified, which notably shows in the instrumentals. Apart from some dual line presses that are always the hardest parts in any song, it gets a bit more interesting when you have to alternate between one button and a non-corresponding directional input. Not super hard or anything, but noteworthy for sure. This is made even trickier when you rotate the analog stick just before that for extra points, giving you less time to find the right button. So at last the chart redeemed itself just a bit. Very unexpected. I never thought this one would make the list. We just talked about the song which has a very fun chart in Future Tone, and now we have a look at the original. By the way, all Mita songs that came from this game and have made it to a decade already look amazing in their realistic version, don't you agree? But you know what? There are some songs in this game that already had appeared in the Diva series before. Here, they are not the same. Apart from being full length, they come with a brand new video. Just take a look at the PV of Kokodo in this game. Much more interesting than the original. Now imagine these being brought to the arcade too. Will never happen most likely, isn't it a shame? Excluding the art style and the low resolution, this game has great new videos. Got that? Yeah, I know I'm talking about something unrelated again. It's just that this is most likely the only video about this game I will ever do, so I thought to get all of my thoughts related to it out of the way. Back to 1925. Why is it in the list? Well, it is of course not as hard as in Future Tone, it offers a nice challenge nevertheless. Almost all spams consist out of different buttons. Nothing special in Future Tone, but here, and let me tell you, there's actually a problem for me. Of course I'm skilled with the Diva games, but this game, the button layout is way different, so me just being a fraction of a second slower when reacting can make all the difference. Next, I find it difficult to tell some normal notes and holding notes apart in this song. That's because most of these are so short that you can barely see the line connecting these together. How mean! Might even be a design issue. Another reoccurring pattern are the many variations of normal buttons and directional notes. It's not before near the end of the song when you're confronted with a mix of many errors in rapid succession. Nice end to a chart that is much better than expected before playing. Sing and Smile is the first chart included in this list that has a super hard version. Basically, there's just a 4th difficulty level after hard, counterpart to the Diva's Extreme mode. Unfortunately though, it only exists for a few songs, 6 out of the 48 in this game. I don't know. So sure, this song made the list and is no walk in the park either. It's just a relatively fast tempo and includes many button changes. Also, the parts with dual inputs are never to be underestimated, but apart from that, why did this particular song get a super hard version or even more puzzling? How did they consider this chart a super hard one at all, labeling it max difficulty? God only knows, or should I say, Miku only knows. It shows a lot about what I think about the previous max difficulty chart, that this slow ballad glow with a rating of 8, too lower than max, is further down in this list. This chart is unlike pretty much all fast ones in this game in that it actually follows the singing almost perfectly. It is slow but very technical. The buttons change all the time, you better be familiar with the layout by now. Even the solo is accurate. Yes, I'm looking at you, Kimi no Taion. There's one problem that I particularly noticed while playing this song. The Nintendo 3DS system's buttons are very different to the Sony console's ones. The system is not really suitable for this type of game where precise presses are mandatory. Not only is a standard D-pad everything but optimal, the buttons in general are pretty stiff. Several times the presses just didn't register when playing this game for this video. The DualShock 3, 4 as well as the Vita are just perfect for these games, I guess. So that's annoying. Before the solo, which actually gave me quite a hard time due to my insufficient practice with the button layout, I also struggled with all the pairs of different holding notes you had to press at the same time. Can see that this is yet again proof that this game deserved to get this top 10. The end is a very long holding note that you have to keep pressing while playing something different on the other side of the controller. So much variety, I approve. How is this rated 8 again? The next max difficulty entry, a song much more worthy of it than the other one. On a side note, one max song didn't even make the list at all, since it was even weirder that this particular song got one, Romeo to Cinderella. But this, yeah, I can see it, not bad at all. Playing this with all its fast spams actually got me a bit sad. There was much more potential for this entire game. Why didn't they just add a max level for all songs? It's obvious by this song that it could have been much more fun for almost every other song. Definitely a missed opportunity. There isn't really an incredibly hard part here, it's just demanding all the way. For this game standard at least. One thing I forgot about the gameplay initially, there are certain notes that are highlighted in every song. They are no different to hit, but are especially important to get a good score. While I don't like that in general, since it comes down to luck whether you hit these specific notes or not, it is strangely fun for this chart. You see, a special sound plays when you hit these notes. Here, these occur just in the right places where it fits the rhythm so well that it just makes you feel extra good getting these right. For the final stretch, errors are added to the spams and just more alternations in general. Songs like these makes it worth coming back to this game.
Number 4.
Yet another max entry in the list, but even more difficult and fun than the one before. This Rin and Gumi duet takes even more advantage of the two lines of notes, alternating between the right and left side of the controller in the same pace as the two of them switch singing. And yes, there's Gumi in this game. Owned by a different company, they somehow got a license just for the Mirai games. Would be great if the arcade would also get the song with Gumi in it, but it hasn't happened yet. The songs she's in the game are awesome. Just for the record though, I'm not a big fan of Gumi myself at all. Don't care for the character nor the voice much. Anyhow, this song offers a good challenge all the way through, with the hardest parts being the sections where you have to let go of a holding note and at the same time play a different single press. I don't know, that always messes me up. Man, just look at these parts in general. It's one big back and forth between the left side, the right side, hold a note here, let go of another, press a button on the right, a different one on the left. Takes time to master these, you know?
Number 3.
Between all these max charts, one with a lower ranking finds itself sandwiched. Really now, can somebody explain with sound arguments why the heck this one is a 9 and Sing and Smile from before was max? I guess not. This one sure is tricky. Well, obviously not nearly as much as the insane Future Tone one, but still quite a challenge. It follows the rapid singing well enough, save for the solos that just mimic the general rhythm and not the exact notes. What makes this chart so hard is the many button changes in all these two note spams. I can't stress enough how much difference it makes that I'm just not as familiar with the button layout. This combined with the fast tempo makes me mess up from time to time, and this pattern occurs constantly. A final challenge arises during the long holding note while you expect it to play rapidly changing inputs on the D-pad. You have to pretty much spam on it, which can be quite a pain if your pad is as unresponsive as mine. Gee, can the PS Vita emulate this game?
Number 2.
We're getting into some serious stuff right here. This Kick-Ass song is almost on the same level as some 8.5 Diva maps. Man, this song please bring it to the arcade eventually. So, this is pretty much a speed test. Many changing buttons at blazing speed. Sure, I could alternate, but do I really trust myself on this with this button layout? Also, you can forget about alternating anyway when you are faced with the double inputs. So no, you just gotta keep up that speed. The chorus is a mix of some spams and two buttons at the same time to give it some more force. After yet another disappointing solo, you really need some quick fingers to switch from a narrow note, so to speak, to a completely different input pretty rapidly. Quite a few times in succession. Up to here it's a tricky song, no question, but what is that at the end? For me it's just brainfuck. Keep holding a note, releasing it and so on, and playing something completely different at the same time? I just can't do it. This feels like learning how to play drums or something. At first you just can't manage the task of playing a different beat with your feet and hands. Or maybe a better analogy, this is the long forgotten feeling of when you're a beginner at Project Diva. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you with the single hardest task in the Mirai series. Yet another song featuring Gumi. Really, what is it with her and hard songs in this game? The number 1 spot is a similar case to what I just discussed. Fast song with many changes. You can try to alternate to make it easier on you if you're confident enough with the layout. There's just more instances where you are required to perform fast presses with the D-pad while doing something else on the right or holding down a note. All these parts add up. In these instances you couldn't even alternate if you wanted to, so you better have fast fingers. If you're still just as bad at all these dual line shenanigans like me, this song is perfect training. Has a lot of them. Yeah, how about training the hardest song of the game? A prime example of how hard this can get is just before the song pauses for a short time. All the back and forth between different presses and holding notes just make my head spin. And that repeats in a later part. No question in my mind that this is the hardest song and these the hardest sections in the entire game. Surely enough, there are even some completely different buttons you have to press at the same time added to the mix. Then, the final stretch. The song slowly speeds up, so it can be difficult to adjust your tempo. As it reaches its final speed, make sure to press both buttons at the same time every second note. Don't screw up now. So we're done. What can I say? It speaks for itself that I didn't even consider making a video about this game because I had the impression it was just a big wasted potential. Don't get me wrong, I'm only speaking about the gameplay. Sure, I'm not a big fan of the Chibi style, but that is just me. No, after replaying this game quite a bit, it's more than obvious that this game has its moments for players who are looking for fun and challenging gameplay. It's there! The problem is that it is found far too little. Why didn't more charts follow the songs more closely? Easy fix! Why didn't all songs get a super hard mode? Would have made so much sense. You can tell the developers would have known how to do it. Are you not convinced yet? Okay. Let's have a look at Senbon and Sakura in this game. Seriously, I'm so pissed. The highest difficulty doesn't follow the song one bit. What is going on? on, where are all the spams? And don't tell me they just didn't want to have too many spams in this game. They were there in songs I just covered. I just don't get it. Look at that! This is like normal difficulty tops. This just begs for a super hard shot. Why exactly did Romeo to Cinderella get one but not this song? Like that is like a joke. Please, just have a look at how the Diva F chart looks. Notice the difference? In comparison, check out the Soul of Demeter version. Yeah, how about that? There's no fucking solo. While we're at it, this is the Future Tone version. No comment needed. What the heck, yet again I'm getting way too negative towards the end. Guess that just proves how much I care. This game is an important part of Miku games history too. The videos were great material for the improved Future Tone versions, but the gameplay just could have been so much more. But it wasn't a complete failure. I hope I made a good enough job at showing you these highlights in this video. I'm still quite a bit mad about this game's instrumentals and how my original plan to make easy Miku videos didn't work out. So just subscribe to my freaking channel, it's all about Miku, give this video a thumbs up, comment, share with your friends, and I guess until next time and have a nice Miku day or whatever.